Daewon checked his reflection one last time before leaving his quarters. The young man adjusted his formal Earth delegation uniform and smiled at himself. Today was important. Today, he would finalize the mining agreement that would bring prosperity to his home planet. At 28 years old, he was the youngest trade negotiator Earth had ever sent to the Galactic Council territories. The space station Viridian Nexus floated in neutral space, a massive structure where hundreds of alien species conducted business. Daewon had been here for 3 weeks now, patiently negotiating with the Vrelian Empire. The Vrelians were a powerful race, reptilian creatures who controlled 40 planets across the galaxy. They wanted access to Earth's asteroid belt, rich with rare minerals. Daewon walked through the station's corridors, nodding politely to the various aliens he passed. A floating jellyfish-like creature from Aquarius Prime, a massive insectoid trader from the Hive Worlds, a small furry diplomat from Kestor. The galaxy was vast and diverse, and Daewon loved every moment of experiencing it. He entered the main plaza, a huge open area with a transparent dome showing the stars above. Hundreds of beings moved through the space, conducting business, eating at food stalls, or simply socializing. In the center stood Commander Thaxel, the Vrelian representative. He was over 8 feet tall, covered in dark green scales, with yellow eyes that showed no warmth. "Negotiator Daewon," Thaxel said, his voice a deep rumble. "You have reviewed our final offer?" Daewon approached with a friendly smile, though his heart was nervous. "I have, Commander. Unfortunately, I cannot accept these terms. The price you offer for mining rights is far below market value. My government has authorized me to negotiate, but not to give away our resources." Thaxel's eyes narrowed. Around them, other aliens stopped what they were doing, sensing tension. "You refuse?" the Vrelian commander asked slowly. "I'm not refusing to negotiate," Daewon explained patiently. "I'm simply saying we need to find a fair price, one that benefits both our peoples. Isn't that what trade is about? Partnership?" Several Vrelians behind their commander began to laugh. It was a harsh barking sound. Thaxel stepped closer to Daewon, towering over the human. "Partnership? You misunderstand your position, little mammal. Earth is nothing, a backward world with primitive technology. You joined the Galactic Council only 36 years ago. You are children playing at galactic politics." Daewon kept his composure, though his hands trembled slightly. "Regardless of our age in the galactic community, we have rights. The Council Charter guarantees." "The Council," Thaxel interrupted, "understands reality. The strong take what they want. The weak accept what they are given. This is the way of the universe." "That's not the way of humanity," Daewon said quietly but firmly. "We believe in fair dealing. In respect. In the value of all species regardless of strength." Thaxel stared at the human for a long moment. Then he turned to his fellow Vrelians and spoke in their language. They responded with more laughter. When Thaxel looked back at Daewon, something cold and final had settled in his expression. "Earth needs to learn its place," the commander said. "The galaxy requires order, hierarchy. You humans are too soft, too emotional, too weak to understand this. Allow me to teach you." Before Daewon could react, Thaxel's clawed hand shot out and grabbed him by the throat, lifting him off the ground. Daewon struggled, his feet kicking uselessly in the air. Around the plaza, aliens backed away. Some looked shocked. Others simply watched with interest. "Someone stop this," a small alien voice cried out. But no one moved. Daewon's vision began to blur. He could see his reflection in Thaxel's yellow eyes. He thought of his parents back on Earth in Sol. He thought of his younger brother who looked up to him. He thought of all the things he still wanted to do, to see, to experience. "Let this be a message to Earth," Thaxel announced loudly, addressing the entire plaza. "This is what happens to those who do not know their place, who do not understand respect for their betters." With a swift, brutal motion, Thaxel snapped Daewon's neck. The sound echoed through the suddenly silent plaza. The commander dropped the body carelessly to the floor. Daewon, who had believed in peace and cooperation, who had spent his whole life studying alien cultures and dreaming of a united galaxy, lay dead on the cold metal floor of Viridian Nexus. The entire incident had been captured by the plaza's security cameras. Within an hour, the footage was on every galactic news channel. The murder of a diplomat, broadcast for billions to see. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Representatives from hundreds of worlds gathered in their grand chamber. The Earth ambassador, a woman named Lee Higgins, stood before them with tears streaming down her face. "You all saw what happened," she said, her voice breaking. Han Daewon was murdered in cold blood. He was unarmed. He was a diplomat under council protection. The Vrelians must be held accountable. The council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The head counselor, a being of pure energy from an ancient race, spoke with a voice like wind chimes. "Ambassador Lee, we understand your grief. This incident is unfortunate. However, the Vrelian Empire is a council member in good standing. Commander Thaxel has claimed diplomatic immunity. He says it was a cultural misunderstanding." "Misunderstanding?" Lee Higgins' voice rose. "He murdered our negotiator." "The Vrelian culture is very different from human culture," another counselor explained. "They have different concepts of honor and hierarchy. We cannot judge them by human standards." "Are you saying they can kill us without consequences?" The head counselor's light dimmed slightly. "We are prepared to offer Earth substantial financial compensation and a formal apology. This is more than has been offered to other species in similar situations." Lee Higgins stared at them in disbelief. "Other situations? This has happened before?" No one answered. The silence told her everything she needed to know. The galaxy operated on power, not justice. The strong did as they pleased. The weak suffered and were compensated. "I need to communicate with my government," Lee Higgins said quietly. "Of course," the head counselor agreed. "We hope Earth will accept our generous offer, and we can move past this unfortunate incident. The galaxy must continue functioning." Lee Higgins returned to the Earth Embassy and sent an encrypted message to the United Earth government. She explained everything: the murder, the Council's response, the casual dismissal of a human life. Earth's response came 30 minutes later. It was brief. "Recall all human ambassadors. Close all embassies. Cease all communication with the Galactic Council. Say nothing. Wait for instructions." Within 6 hours, every human in Council space was returning to Earth. Embassies shut down. Trade ships turned back. Human representatives left meetings without explanation. The galaxy noticed. Aliens wondered what Earth was doing. Was humanity sulking? Were they accepting the compensation and going home to mourn? For 37 hours, Earth was silent. No messages, no broadcasts, no communication at all. And in that silence, something was happening. Something the galaxy didn't know about. Something that would change everything. On Earth, in the government's military command center, Admiral Kang Minho stood before a room full of officers. Behind him, enormous screens showed star maps, fleet positions, and weapon systems that no alien had ever seen. "They killed one of us," the Admiral said. "They think we're weak. They think we'll accept their blood money and forget. They're wrong." He pressed a button and the screens changed. They now showed the faces of 300 ship captains waiting for orders. "Gentlemen and ladies," Admiral Kang Minho said, his voice cold as space itself, "prepare for war." The United Earth Assembly Hall was packed with representatives from every nation. Large screens displayed the footage of Han Daewon's murder on repeat. Some representatives wept openly. Others sat with faces carved from stone, fury burning in their eyes. President Park Ji-woo stood at the podium. A woman in her 50s with gray-streaked hair and the bearing of someone who had seen humanity through many crises. Behind her stood Admiral Kang Minho in his military dress uniform, rows of medals across his chest. "For 36 years," President Park began, "we have played a role in the galactic community. We presented ourselves as peaceful, cooperative, eager to learn and trade. And why did we do this?" She paused, looking across the assembled representatives. "We did this because we were afraid. Afraid of the vast galaxy. Afraid of species that had traveled the stars for thousands of years while we had barely left our solar system. We made ourselves small, harmless, forgettable." Her voice grew harder. "And now we have learned what the galaxy thinks of small, harmless species. They can be killed without consequence. Their lives mean nothing. They exist only to serve the powerful." The assembly erupted in angry shouts. Park waited for silence before continuing. "The Galactic Council offered us money, as if Han Daewon's life had a price, as if we would forget our murdered son for credits in an account." She shook her head. "They do not understand humanity. They are about to." Admiral Kang Minho stepped forward. The room fell silent. Everyone knew what was coming. "When we joined the Galactic Council," the Admiral began, We did not show them everything. We let them see our civilian ships, our small defense fleet, our mining stations. We let them think we were weak. He pressed a control and the screens changed. They now showed ships. Hundreds of ships. Sleek, dark vessels unlike anything in the Galactic fleet databases. While we smiled and traded and negotiated, Kong Minho continued, we built a fleet, not for conquest, for protection. We studied every alien technology we encountered. We reverse engineered it. We improved it. And we kept it all secret. The screens showed more. Massive orbital platforms bristling with weapons, underground military facilities on the Moon and Mars, training centers where soldiers practiced in conditions that would kill most aliens. We have 300 warships, the Admiral said. They use stealth technology that makes them invisible to any known scanner. We have kinetic weapons that can strike from beyond any defensive range. We have cyber warfare capabilities that can shut down entire alien networks. And we have soldiers. Thousands of them, enhanced, trained, ready. A representative from Brazil stood up. Admiral, are you suggesting we go to war with the Vrelian Empire? They control 40 planets. Their fleet numbers in the thousands. Kang Minho's smile was cold. I'm not suggesting it. I'm stating it. We are going to war. And we are going to win. Another representative from Nigeria spoke urgently. But the entire galaxy might turn against us. We could be facing not just the Vrelians, but the whole Galactic Council. Good, President Park said simply. Let them all see what happens when you murder a human. Let the entire galaxy learn that Earth does not forgive, does not forget, and does not accept that any human life is worth less than any other being in the universe. The assembly voted. It was unanimous. Humanity was going to war. In a secret military base beneath the Rocky Mountains, Captain Yu Hajun addressed his team. There were 50 soldiers in the room, men and women who had volunteered for the Enhanced Soldier Program. They were stronger, faster, and could survive in environments that would kill normal humans. They called themselves the Berserkers. Hajun was 32 years old, a career soldier who had trained for this moment his entire life. His sister had been on Viridian Nexus when Daewon was killed. She had witnessed it. She had called him crying, asking why no one had helped. Our target is the Vrelian supply depot at Kepler Station. Hajun told his team. It supplies 6 Vrelian battle groups. We destroy it and those battle groups can't operate. Questions? A young soldier named Kim Terry raised her hand. Sir, how do we get past their security? Hajun smiled. We don't have to. Someone else is handling that. In a building in Seoul, South Korea, Shin Nari sat in front of 17 computer screens, her fingers dancing across multiple keyboards. She was 25 years old and had been programming since she was 6. She could hack any system, break any code, infiltrate any network. Entering Vrelian military network now, she said into her headset. Around her, a team of 30 other hackers worked frantically. Their security is good, but it's designed to stop alien intrusions, not human ones. They don't know what we're capable of. Lines of code flashed across her screens. I'm in their communication network. I'm in their navigation systems. I'm in their weapons control. She grinned. I own them and they don't even know it yet. Can you shut them down? A voice asked through her headset. I can do better than shut them down, Nari replied. I can make them think everything is fine while their ships are flying blind. By the time they realize what's happening, it'll be too late. Back in the military command center, Admiral Kang Minho watched as his plan came together. Dr. Chai Suyon, Earth's chief expert on alien psychology, stood beside him. The Vrelians respect strength, she explained. They have no concept of mercy as we understand it. To them, showing mercy is weakness. We need to hit them so hard, so fast that they understand they made a terrible mistake. And the other species? Kang Minho asked. Most of them are afraid of the Vrelians. If we defeat them decisively, many will see us as liberators, not aggressors. But we must be careful. If we're too brutal, we become the new villains. The Admiral nodded. Understood. We destroy their military. We leave their civilians alone. We show the galaxy that humans know the difference. President Park Ji-woo prepared to make Earth's announcement to the galaxy. She stood before cameras knowing that in moments every species in known space would hear her words. People of the galaxy, she began, her voice steady and clear. I am Park Ji-woo, President of the United Earth Government. 3 days ago, one of our diplomats, Han Daewon, was murdered by a Vrelian commander. The Galactic Council has determined this murder does not deserve punishment. She paused, letting that sink in. Therefore, Earth is declaring war on the Vrelian Empire. We will pursue justice for Han Daewon. Any species that aids the Vrelians will be considered our enemy. Any species that remains neutral will be remembered as friends when this is over. We do not seek conquest. We do not seek territory. We seek one thing, justice. Her eyes hardened. The galaxy has treated humanity as children, as beings too weak to matter. Today, the children are taking off the gloves. Today, the galaxy learns what humans become when you murder one of us. The broadcast ended. Across the galaxy, billions of beings watched in shock. Some laughed. Some worried. The Vrelian Emperor in his palace on the homeworld sneered at the screen. Send 3 battle groups to Earth, he ordered. Destroy their cities. Show them the price of defiance. Make an example of them. 3 Vrelian battle groups departed immediately. 90 warships, each massive and powerful, capable of destroying planets. They entered slipspace, heading for Earth's solar system. They expected to find a primitive world, defended by a handful of outdated ships. What they found instead would become the stuff of legend. As the Vrelian fleet emerged from slipspace near Mars, every single ship simultaneously lost power. Their engines died. Their weapons went offline. Their communications failed. They drifted in space, helpless. On the flagship, the Vrelian admiral roared in confusion. What's happening? Get our systems back online. His technical officer worked frantically at his console. Sir, it's like our entire computer network has been infected with something. I've never seen code like this. It's eating through our systems faster than we can stop it. The admiral looked out the viewport and froze. Ships were appearing around his fleet. Sleek, dark vessels that seemed to materialize from nothing. Human ships. Dozens of them. Then hundreds. A message came through on the emergency channel. Admiral Kang Minho's face appeared on every screen in every Vrelian ship. You came to destroy Earth, he said calmly. You came to make an example of us. Allow me to return the favor. The human fleet opened fire. The Vrelian ships had no chance. Their weapons were offline. Their shields were down. Their engines were dead. They floated in space like metal coffins while the human fleet surrounded them. Admiral Kang Minho watched from the bridge of his flagship, the Soul. His tactical officer, Commander Bei Jinseo, reported the status. All enemy vessels are disabled, sir. We have weapons lock on all 90 ships. The Vrelian admiral's face appeared on the communication screen. His yellow eyes were wide with shock and fear. Admiral, we surrender. We are helpless. You must show mercy. Kang Minho's expression didn't change. Did you show mercy to Han Daewon? Did you accept his surrender when he begged for his life? That was different. He was what? Weak? Inferior? Not worthy of mercy? The admiral's voice was ice. You came here to destroy my planet, to kill my people, to make an example of Earth. I will make an example of you instead. He closed the channel and gave the order. Fire. The human fleet unleashed everything. Kinetic rounds moving at relativistic speeds. Energy weapons that cut through armor like paper. Missiles that found every weak point. In less than 3 minutes, 90 Vrelian warships were reduced to debris. Broadcast the footage, Kang Minho ordered. I want every species in the galaxy to see this. I want them to know what happens when you threaten Earth. Within hours, the footage was everywhere. The Galactic Council watched in horror. Minor species watched in amazement. The Vrelian Empire watched in growing fear. In the council chambers, representatives shouted and argued. The head counselor tried to restore order. This is unacceptable. The humans have committed an act of war against a council member. Ambassador Lee Haijin, who had returned to her post, stood calmly amid the chaos. An act of war? She asked. You mean like murdering our diplomat? Like sending a fleet to destroy our homeworld? That kind of act of war? The humans must be stopped, the Vrelian representative hissed. They are dangerous. They are monsters. We are what you made us, Lee Haijin replied coldly. You wanted to teach us our place. Congratulations, we learned the lesson. Now we're teaching you yours. Far from Earth at a Vrelian mining colony, workers began their shift like any other day. The colony sat on an asteroid rich with valuable minerals. 3,000 Vrelians lived and worked there. protected by a small garrison of soldiers. Captain Yu Hajun and his berserker team approached the colony in a small stealth ship. They wore advanced armor that let them survive in the vacuum of space. Their weapons were designed for close combat in zero gravity. "Remember," Hajun told his team, "military targets only. We're not murderers. We're soldiers." They attached their ship to the outer hull and cut through. Inside, alarms began to blare. Vrelian soldiers rushed to the breach point. They found Kim Terry waiting for them. She moved like water, her enhanced reflexes making her almost impossible to hit. Her weapon fired with deadly accuracy. In seconds, 5 Vrelian soldiers lay dead. The rest retreated in panic. "This is impossible," one Vrelian shouted into his communicator. "They're too fast, too strong. They fight like demons." Hajun's team swept through the military section of the colony. They were precise, efficient, terrifying. Every Vrelian soldier they encountered either died or surrendered. The civilian workers, however, were left untouched. When the colony was secure, Hajun broadcast a message. "Vrelian workers, stay in your quarters. We have no intention of harming you. We are here to destroy your military capability, nothing more. When we leave, you will find medical supplies and food in the main hall. Compliments of Earth." The berserkers planted charges on the military installations and left as quickly as they had come. Behind them, explosions destroyed weapons, communications equipment, and the garrison headquarters. But the civilian sections remained intact. This pattern repeated across Vrelian space. Human special forces struck dozens of targets, military bases, supply depots, command centers. Every attack was surgical. Every attack left civilians unharmed. And every attack ended with the same message: Earth remembers Han Daewon. In her command center in Seoul, Shin Nari was fighting a different kind of war. Her team had penetrated every major Vrelian computer system. They controlled communications, they manipulated sensors, they created chaos. "I'm sending false fleet movement reports to their admirals," one of her hackers reported. "They think we have ships in 3 places we're not." "Good," Nari said. "And the propaganda?" Another hacker smiled. "Broadcasting on all Vrelian civilian channels. We're showing them footage of their government's crimes, the species they've enslaved, the planets they've conquered. Their own people are starting to ask questions." This was Dr. Chae Suyan's strategy. Break the Vrelian military while also breaking their people's faith in their government. Show the Vrelian civilians that their leaders were not invincible. Plant the seeds of revolution. "We're also broadcasting Daewon's speech," Nari added. "The one he gave at the university on Viridian Nexus 2 days before he died, where he talked about peace and cooperation. The speech showed the galaxy who Daewon had been. Not a weakling, not a fool, but a young man who believed in something better. Who died for trying to do the right thing. It made his murder even more tragic, even more unforgivable. The Vrelian Emperor called an emergency meeting of his generals. The reptilian leaders gathered in the war room, their faces grim. "How are they doing this?" the Emperor demanded. "How is one small planet defeating us? We control 40 worlds. We have thousands of ships." General Vextar, the most experienced military commander, studied the tactical displays. "Your Majesty, the humans are not fighting like we expected. They are not meeting us in open battle. They are using stealth, speed, and technology we don't understand. Every time we send a fleet to engage them, they vanish. Every time we think we've found them, we find only ghosts. Then find a way to stop them." "There may be only one way, Your Majesty," the general hesitated. "We could propose negotiations, offer reparations, show that we've punished Commander Thaxel." The Emperor's eyes blazed with fury. "Never. The Vrelian Empire does not bow to inferior species. We will crush them. Send more ships, send everything if necessary." The general bowed, knowing it was a mistake. But orders were orders. The Galactic Council attempted to mediate. They sent messages to Earth begging for a ceasefire. President Park Ji-woo's response was simple. Deliver Commander Thaxel for trial. Free all species enslaved by the Vrelian Empire. Pay reparations to Han Daewon's family. Until these conditions are met, the war continues. The council pleaded with the Vrelians to accept. The Emperor refused. He was sure his vast military would eventually overwhelm the humans. He was wrong. On Earth, in a small apartment in Seoul, Han Daewon's parents watched the news. His mother, Han Yoonji, wept quietly. His father, Han Boksu, sat in silence, his face like stone. "So much death because of our son," Yoonji whispered. "Is this what he would have wanted?" Boksu thought for a long moment. Daewon believed in peace, in understanding, but he also believed that people should be treated with dignity, that every life matters. He looked at his wife. The galaxy didn't believe that. They thought our son's life was worthless. Now they're learning differently. President Park Ji-woo visited them personally. She sat in their small living room, this powerful woman who commanded humanity's war effort, and she held Yoonji's hands. "I cannot bring your son back," Park said. "Nothing can do that. But I can promise you this. His death will mean something. When this is over, no human will ever be casually murdered again. No species will ever think we are too weak to matter. Daewon's legacy will be a safer galaxy for everyone." Yoonji looked at the president. "Will you destroy the Vrelians completely?" "No," Park said firmly. "We will defeat them. We will force them to change. But we will not become monsters. That would dishonor your son's memory." In Vrelian space, panic was spreading. The human attacks continued. No one felt safe. The mighty military that had conquered 40 worlds was being torn apart by an enemy they couldn't catch, couldn't predict, couldn't stop. Vrelian citizens began to protest. They demanded their government negotiate with Earth. They demanded an end to the war their leaders couldn't win. They demanded justice for what had been done in their name. And in his palace, the Vrelian emperor began to realize he had made a terrible mistake. He had thought humans were weak. He had believed one human life didn't matter. He had killed Han Daewon to teach humanity a lesson about hierarchy and power. Instead, he had awakened something far more dangerous than he ever imagined. He had awakened humanity's capacity for righteous fury. He had shown them that the galaxy respected only strength, and now they were showing the galaxy exactly how strong humans could be. The war was not over, but the outcome was no longer in doubt. The human fleet appeared at the edge of Vrelian space like a dark tide. 300 warships accompanied by supply vessels and mobile command stations. Admiral Kang Min-ho stood on the bridge of the Seoul, looking at the holographic display showing the Vrelian homeworld ahead. "All ships in position, Admiral," Commander Bae Jinseo reported. "The planet is surrounded. Their defense fleet is attempting to form up, but our cyber warfare team has already infiltrated their systems." From her command center on Earth, Shin Nari confirmed. "Their planetary shields are under my control. Their orbital weapons are offline. Their communication satellites are feeding them false information. They think they have twice as many defenders as they actually do." Kang Min-ho nodded. "Excellent work. Now broadcast my message to the Vrelian homeworld and to the entire galaxy." His face appeared on every screen across the planet below. In homes, in government buildings, in schools and hospitals, billions of Vrelians watched the human admiral who had decimated their fleet. "People of the Vrelian Empire," Kang Min-ho began, his voice calm and measured. "Your government murdered our diplomat Han Daewon because they believed humans were weak. They believed one human life didn't matter. They were wrong." He gestured to the tactical display behind him. "As you can see, Earth's fleet now surrounds your homeworld. Your defenses are disabled. Your shields are down. We have the power to end your civilization in minutes. We have the power to do to you what you plan to do to Earth." The camera zoomed in on his face. "But we won't. Because unlike your government, we understand that civilian lives matter. That children matter. That innocent people should not pay for their leaders' crimes." He leaned forward. "However, justice must be served. We demand 3 things. First, Commander Thaxel must be surrendered to human custody for trial. Second, all species enslaved by your empire must be freed immediately. Third, reparations must be paid to the family of Han Daewon. You have 72 hours to comply." The broadcast showed a timer counting down. 72 hours. "If you meet these demands," Kang Min-ho continued, "we will withdraw. We will help you rebuild. We will show you that humans can be generous in victory. But if you refuse," he paused, "then we will do what we came here to do." The broadcast ended. The fleet held position, silent and waiting. On the Vrelian homeworld, chaos erupted. The Emperor called his war council. "This is blackmail. We cannot bow to these demands." General Vextar shook his head. "Your Majesty, we have no choice. Our fleet is destroyed. Our defenses are useless. If we refuse, they will bombard us from orbit. Then we will die with honor." "Honor?" The general's voice rose, something no one had ever heard before. "What honor is there in getting our people killed for nothing? The humans have won. Accept it." But the Emperor refused. He ordered his remaining forces to prepare for a final battle. He would rather see his world burn than surrender. In the human fleet, officers were worried. "Admiral," Commander Bay said quietly, "what if they don't surrender? We can't actually destroy the entire planet." "We're not monsters, I know," Kang Minho replied. "But they don't know that. The threat has to be real or it won't work." On Earth, President Park Ji-woo was having similar doubts. She met with her advisors in the secure situation room. "If the Vrelians call our bluff, what do we do?" Dr. Che Suyan had been working on this problem. "Madam President, I don't think it will come to that. Our intelligence shows massive civilian unrest on the Vrelian homeworld. The people don't want to die for their emperor's pride." She pulled up footage showing Vrelian protests, thousands of civilians in the streets demanding their government surrender. They've been broadcasting our message to their people. They're showing them who Daewon was. They're showing them that we've spared civilians in every attack. The Vrelian people are starting to understand that we're not the enemy. Their government is. In the Earth Assembly, debate raged. Representative Okonkwo from Nigeria stood and spoke passionately. "If we destroy that planet, we become the very thing we're fighting against. We become murderers. We prove that the Vrelian Emperor was right about the galaxy. That only power matters." Representative Silva from Brazil agreed. "We've made our point. The galaxy knows we're strong. Now we need to show them we're also wise. We need to show restraint," but others disagreed. "They murdered our people," shouted Representative Chen from China. "They deserve whatever happens to them." President Park Ji-woo listened to all sides. Finally, she made a decision. "We will not destroy the Vrelian homeworld no matter what they decide. But they don't need to know that." The threat continues. We wait. On the Vrelian homeworld, time was running out. The protest grew larger. Civilian leaders began calling for the Emperor's removal. The military, seeing the writing on the wall, started to fracture. Some generals remained loyal. Others began secret negotiations with the humans. Captain Yu Ha-jun and his berserker team were on the planet's surface, hidden in the capital city. They had infiltrated during the chaos, their mission to extract Commander Thaxel if the Vrelians tried to hide him. Located the target, Kim Terry reported from her position outside the Imperial Palace. "He's in the lower levels in a fortified bunker. Looks like they're protecting him." Ha-jun studied the building plans on his tactical display. "Can we get in?" "It'll be difficult, but yes. The question is whether we should. If we grab him by force, it might provoke the Emperor into doing something stupid." Ha-jun considered. His sister had witnessed Daewon's murder. She had nightmares about it. Every part of him wanted to storm that palace and drag Thaxel out. But he was a soldier, not an executioner. "We wait," he decided. "Our orders are to extract him only if the Vrelians refuse to surrender. Let's hope it doesn't come to that." As the timer ticked down, the Galactic Council watched anxiously. Minor species throughout the galaxy were hopeful. If humanity could defeat the Vrelians, it would prove that the strong could be challenged, that bullies could be stopped. Ambassador Lee Hee-jin received a private communication from a representative of the Kestor, one of the species the Vrelians had enslaved. "Ambassador, our people are praying for humanity's victory. We have suffered under Vrelian rule for 300 years. Please free us." She received similar messages from a dozen other enslaved species. The stakes of this war were bigger than just Han Daewon. It was about changing the entire galactic order. With 12 hours left on the countdown, something unexpected happened. The Vrelian people stormed the Imperial Palace. Not soldiers, but ordinary citizens, shopkeepers and teachers and workers. They had had enough of their emperor's pride. They didn't want to die for his ego. The palace guards, faced with thousands of their own people, lowered their weapons. They stepped aside. The crowd surged forward, flooding into the building. In the throne room, the emperor stood with his remaining loyal generals. They heard the crowd coming, the sound of thousands of voices chanting, "Surrender! Surrender! Surrender!" General Vextar entered the throne room. Behind him were soldiers, but their weapons were pointed at the Emperor, not at the crowd. "Your Majesty," the general said quietly, "it's over. The people have spoken. The military has spoken. We will not let you destroy our world for your pride." The Emperor looked at him with hatred. "Traitor." "No, Your Majesty. I am saving our people, which is more than you have done." He gestured to his soldiers. "Take him." The Emperor was arrested. The interim government, led by General Vextar, immediately contacted the human fleet. "Admiral Kang, we wish to negotiate our surrender." Kang Minho's relief was carefully hidden. "Your terms? We accept all your demands. Commander Thaxel will be turned over to you immediately. All enslaved species will be freed within 30 days. Reparations will be paid. We ask only that you spare our people." "Agreed," the Admiral said. "Stand down your remaining forces. We will send representatives to oversee the transition." Within hours, Commander Thaxel was in human custody. Captain Yu Hajun personally escorted him to the transport ship. Thaxel looked at the human soldier with confusion. "You could have killed all of us." "Why didn't you?" Hajun thought of his sister, of Daewon, of all the death this war had caused. "Because we're better than you," he said simply. "We know the difference between justice and revenge. You're going to stand trial. You're going to face what you did, and then justice will be served." The news spread across the galaxy. Humanity had won. The Vrelian Empire had surrendered. Enslaved species were being freed. And through it all, humans had shown restraint. They had been strong enough to win and wise enough not to become monsters in the process. In his command center, Admiral Kang Minho allowed himself a small smile. They had done it. They had avenged Daewon without losing their humanity. The war was over, but the real work was just beginning. The trial of Commander Thaxel took place on Viridian Nexus, the same station where Han Daewon had been murdered. It was broadcast throughout the galaxy. Every species watched as human justice worked. The courtroom was simple. No grand displays. No intimidating architecture. Just a room with seats for observers, a place for the accused, and a panel of judges. 3 humans and 3 aliens from neutral species. Fair representation. Thaxel stood in the defendant's area, looking smaller somehow without his military uniform. He wore simple gray clothes, no weapons, no armor. Just a former commander facing the consequences of his actions. The lead judge, a Korean woman named Hong Soo-min, read the charges. "Commander Thaxel, you are charged with the murder of Han Daewon, a diplomatic representative under Galactic Council protection." "How do you plead?" Thaxel's lawyer, a human named David Kim who had volunteered to defend him, stood. "My client acknowledges the act but claims it was within his cultural rights as a Vrelian commander." The prosecution was led by Park Ji-ho, an experienced lawyer from Seoul. "Your Honor, cultural differences do not excuse murder." The victim was unarmed. He was a diplomat. He posed no threat. The defendant killed him simply to demonstrate power. The trial lasted 3 days. Witnesses testified. Video evidence was shown. Thaxel himself took the stand. "Did you kill Han Daewon?" Park Ji-ho asked. "Yes," Thaxel said. "Why?" The Vrelian looked at the crowd, at the aliens watching, at the humans who had defeated his empire. "Because he was weak. Because he refused to accept his place. Because someone needed to teach Earth a lesson." "And what lesson was that?" "That the strong rule. The weak obey." Park Ji-ho nodded slowly. "And what lesson did Earth teach you?" Thaxel had no answer. The judges deliberated for 6 hours. When they returned, Judge Hong delivered the verdict. "We find the defendant guilty of murder. The sentence is death, to be carried out in the same manner as the defendant used on his victim." Thaxel showed no emotion. He had expected this. "However," Judge Hong continued, "this court also recognizes that the defendant was acting within the beliefs of his culture, as wrong as those beliefs were. The Vrelian Empire taught him that such actions were acceptable. Therefore, we recommend that this execution be the last. That going forward, the galaxy establishes universal standards for the treatment of all beings." The execution was carried out 1 week later. Thaxel faced his death with the same cold efficiency he had shown Daewon. No begging, no tears, just acceptance. It brought no joy to anyone watching. Justice had been served, but it felt hollow. Han Daewon's parents attended. Afterward, reporters asked Han Boksu how he felt. "I feel empty," he said honestly. Killing that man doesn't bring my son back. But maybe it will prevent another parent from losing their child the same way. The Galactic Council convened to discuss the post-war order. Ambassador Lee Hee-jin returned to the chambers, but this time everything was different. Aliens who had ignored her before now listened carefully. Species that had looked down on humanity now treated Earth with respect. The head counselor addressed the assembly. The recent conflict has shown us that our old ways were flawed. We allowed the strong to abuse the weak. We turned away from injustice because it was convenient. The humans have taught us that this cannot continue. A new charter was proposed. Universal rights for all species. Real consequences for those who violated diplomatic immunity. An end to the enslavement of species. Fair trade practices. Not everyone agreed. Some of the major powers resisted. But they looked at Earth's fleet, still in Vrelian space, and they decided not to push their luck. The charter passed. A new galactic order began. On the former Vrelian homeworld, now governed by General Vextar and a civilian council, reconstruction had begun. Human engineers worked alongside Vrelians to repair damaged infrastructure. Human medical teams helped treat wounded civilians. Dr. Chae Soo-yeon visited the planet to help with the cultural transition. She met with Vrelian educators, helping them redesign their curriculum to teach cooperation instead of conquest. It will take generations, she told President Park Ji-woo in a video call. Their entire society was built around military dominance. Changing that mindset won't be easy. But it's possible? Park asked. Yes, we've already seen changes. The young Vrelians especially are eager for something different. They're tired of war. They want what we have: peace, progress, hope. Captain Yu Ha-jun and his Berserker team were reassigned to a new mission. They would train security forces for newly freed species, helping them defend themselves against future threats. Kim Terry asked him once, "Do you think we'll have to fight again?" Ha-jun looked at the young soldier. "Probably. The galaxy is a big place. But maybe next time, we won't have to fight alone. Maybe we'll have allies." He was right. Over the following months, a dozen species approached Earth requesting defense treaties. They wanted the protection of human military might. They wanted to join what was being called the Terran Protection Pact. Earth was careful about accepting. President Park Ji-woo insisted on strict requirements. "We're not building an empire," she told her advisors. "We're creating a network of mutual defense. We protect them. They respect our values. No one gets exploited." Admiral Kang Min-ho retired 6 months after the war ended. At his retirement ceremony, he gave a speech that was recorded for history. "We didn't want this war," he said. "We wanted to be friends with the galaxy, to learn and trade and grow together, but we learned that peace requires strength. That kindness can be mistaken for weakness, that sometimes you have to fight for what's right." He looked at the assembled officers. "But we also learned restraint. We had the power to destroy the Vrelian homeworld. We chose not to. That choice defines us. We are strong enough to win, wise enough to know when not to fight, and compassionate enough to help our enemies become friends." Shin Nari and her cyber warfare team became legendary. Other species tried to hire them. They refused. "We work for Earth," Nari said. "But we'll help you build your own defenses for free. Because a safer galaxy benefits everyone." She began teaching classes, training aliens in cybersecurity, creating a network of experts who could defend against threats, building connections across the galaxy. 1 year after Daewon's death, a memorial was unveiled on Viridian Nexus. It stood in the exact spot where he had been killed. A simple statue of a young man holding a datapad looking hopeful. The plaque read in every known language, "Han Daewon, diplomat, believer in peace." His death changed the galaxy. May we honor his memory by building the universe he dreamed of. Thousands attended the ceremony. Humans, Vrelians, Kesters, and dozens of other species. Even General Vextar came, old and gray now, to pay his respects. Han Daewon's parents stood before the memorial. Han Yoonji placed flowers at its base. Han Boksu spoke to the crowd. "My son believed that all beings could live together in peace. He died for that belief. But his death wasn't meaningless. Because of him, the galaxy changed. Slaves are free. Justice is possible. The weak are protected. If Daewon could see what his death accomplished, I think he would say it was worth it." He paused, tears in his eyes. "But I, as his father, would give all of it back to have him alive again." The crowd stood in silence. There was no argument to that. No comfort to offer. Just the shared grief of loss and the hope that his death had meaning. Dr. Che Suyon approached them after the ceremony. She had gifts, messages from across the galaxy, letters from freed slaves thanking Daewon, artwork from children on worlds that were now free, poems and songs created in his honor. Your son touched more lives dead than most people do alive, she said gently. The galaxy will never forget him. 5 years later, Ambassador Lee Hyejin stood before the Galactic Council for a routine report. Earth's representative was now one of the most respected voices in the council. When she spoke, people listened. Earth's position remains unchanged, she said. We seek partnership, not domination. We offer our strength to protect the weak. We offer our technology to help others grow. We ask only for respect and fair treatment in return. A young alien representative, from a species that had been freed from Vrelian slavery, stood. Ambassador Lee, my people owe Earth a debt we can never repay. You gave us our freedom, our lives, Lee smiled. We don't want payment. We want you to thrive, to build your own future, to never let anyone enslave you again. That's payment enough. The Galactic Council had changed. It was still imperfect, still political, still complicated, but it was better, fairer, more just, because humanity had shown that the strong could choose to be good. That power could be used for protection, not oppression. In Seoul, in a small apartment, Han Daewon's younger brother, Han Junho, graduated from university. He had studied diplomacy like his brother. He wanted to continue Daewon's work. At his graduation, he gave a speech. My brother believed in a better galaxy. He died before seeing it, but we're building it now. Every day, every treaty, every friendship between species. Every time we choose peace over war, we're making his dream real. Junho looked at his parents in the audience. Daewon once told me that one person can't change the galaxy. He was wrong. One person can? His death proved it, but it's better when we all work together. When we remember that every life, human or alien, matters. The new human motto had spread throughout the fleet.